Welcome to Women in Business, Inspiring Women podcast. I'm so excited to have you all ladies here and also invite our special guest, Claire Lockey. Hi, Claire.
Hi, thanks for having me.
How are you today?
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you.
I'm so excited to have you on this podcast today because you have been part of the Women in Business community from the very beginning, and obviously you have been part of the team, the support team, and obviously community member as well. So I want to do a little introduction of Claire, of who she is. So Claire Lockey is a content stylist and virtual assistant who helps female entrepreneurs, coaches, and educators to scale their business using beautifully designed content that is on message and also on brand. And she is supporting women all around the world with her skills, her expertise, and really transforming female businesses for other people. So Claire, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Me too. I'm so excited. So I want to find out a little bit more about your journey. Tell me how you got started in this niche.
So before I started my business, I was a careers advisor, and I was just working in a university, supporting people coming out of university with their career paths after that. But I had my little boy, and he was about 16 months at that point, so he was still quite small, and in careers and sort of things like that, it's usually short-term contracts, so you're only ever sort of guaranteed jobs for 12 months and things like that. So I've been bouncing around from contract to contract for years. I'd had 8 jobs in 10 years by that point, which was really hard work, and I'd always wanted to be self-employed. So the opportunity sort of arose, and I found a client before I'd registered the business, so I was sort of thrown into it really, and I just decided to go with the opportunity. And I registered the business in the June, and then I left my job in the November, so it was quite a quick transition.
Wow, amazing. So you just literally taken a leap to become your own business owner, and what spurred you to do that?
I think my little boy really was a massive shift for me. My parents have always been self-employed, so it's quite a natural thing for me to be drawn to. I'd never grown up seeing them work for somebody else. I'd never seen them go to work. They were always their own bosses my whole life, and that I always felt in all of the jobs that I had, I absolutely gave 110% to everything that I did, but I just felt like a bit of a square peg in a round hole. I just never truly felt that I was doing what I should be doing. So when the opportunity came up, it was always a view to do that in the evenings and things like that until my little boy was old enough to go to school, and he's just gone to school this September. But actually, it took off so quickly, and I got clients so easily that I kind of got to the position where I'd matched my wage within the 4 months. So I said to my husband, I've got to make a decision whether I invest in the business and I go for it and I believe in myself, or I stay in work. But knowing that my contract was coming up anyway, I decided to just do it. I believed in myself. I knew I could do it. And I just wanted to just be accountable to me. I was fed up of feeling like I didn't fit in and I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do, and I couldn't give everything that I had to give. So yeah. I felt I could create that for myself.
Wow, amazing. Such a big leap. So I know you had an incredible journey and obviously have watched a lot of it myself. I want to find out from you, what was the scariest part about starting or running your own business?
I think, and we've had discussions about this sort of over the last 18 months, I think working for yourself is scary. It's really, it's quite isolating sometimes. And I think you go from having a team or having colleagues around you to bounce ideas off, and, you never, unless you're in management, you're never really making decisions that are solely yours. And then when you have this business and you have these big decisions to make of, should I do that or shouldn't I? Should I invest? Should I take on that client? What should I charge? There's no one else to make those decisions. it's you. And obviously partners and family, they're very supportive, but it's your business, and only you can do it. So I found that quite scary at first, quite isolating. And then I started to meet people like you and the women in business community, and that opened up that sort of isolating feeling of being on your own and not having anybody to kind of talk to. And I kind of think I realized that it's okay to be unsure, and it's okay to not know in those early days, and about not putting too much pressure on yourself. And I think I've kind of learned to now, if I struggle with a decision, I talk to somebody. I talk to you, or I have very brilliant relationships with my clients. We're very open, and I do the work for them, but we also work together and brainstorm and share ideas and talk things through, and that's fantastic. That community is so important, I think. So yeah.
I think recognizing that there is actually a lot of support and being open to it is a big part of succeeding in entrepreneurship, because you can't do it alone.
No, you can't do it all yourself. And that's the thing to realize, that if you try to spread yourself too thin, and do it all yourself, and even if you are doing it all yourself in the sense of, you are having to do your accounts and you are doing your marketing and things because you can't afford to outsource, that's okay. But it's that mental load that is the important thing to realize, that you don't have to shoulder all of that pressure on your own, that sharing and talking and being around other people who are going through the same thing, will help ease that feeling of isolation and loneliness when you're first starting out. And it's about not being scared to reach out for help.
Yeah. What would you say to someone starting out whether in business or, becoming a virtual assistant? What would you say to somebody?
I'd say that it's very easy to get overwhelmed with the amount of information that is out there. I know I joined every group, I downloaded every lead magnet, and I'd get hundreds of emails a day from people selling me the perfect dream, promising me 6 figures in 2 months. And I just got so overwhelmed with it, and it made me really backtrack. It made me kind of just go backwards. I wasn't moving forwards. I was just scaring myself so much. So I'd say that the important thing when you're starting out is to have a belief in yourself and to trust your instincts and remember why you're doing it. Everybody wants to grow their business. Everyone wants to scale their business. Everybody would like to turn over 6 figures in their first year. But that isn't always everybody's journey. That isn't always achievable, and it depends where you are in your life. When I started my business, I was working 18 hours. I had an 18-month child. He was still taking up a lot of time. He wasn't in nursery. So that pressure of thinking that I had to earn 6 figures in my first year, it's not realistic. It wasn't a realistic thing for me. So what I'd say is just think about what you want from your business, and then set achievable goals. And there's a difference between being fearful and challenging yourself to do something that scares you. That's growth. And there's a difference between challenging yourself to do something you don't want to do, or that questions your morals or your ethics or what you feel comfortable with. And it's knowing the difference in those, I think. Trust your instincts and think about what it is you want from your business, and create a plan and push yourself to challenge yourself, but don't put too much pressure on yourself to achieve unrealistic goals, because when you don't achieve them, you're just setting yourself up to be disappointed.
It's like comparing ourselves, isn't it? That is, I guess, the worst in business, when you compare your page 1 to someone's page 10, and you're trying to be there when you're really just starting out.
Yeah.
That's the difference. What do you think things are that hold us actually back in business and taking that leap?
I think everybody's different, and I think it's important to recognise that we're all on our own journey, and we're all, individuals with different personalities. So for some people, for me personally, my big challenge, and this, is being visible. It's confidence, and it's putting myself out there and not hiding behind the computer screen, which is where I'm comfortable. That's my comfort zone. So I have to do a lot of work on my mindset to push myself to do things like that, and to attend events, and to be visible, and just be proud of who I am and the business that I have. For other people, it could be tech, and it could be that's holding them back, and that causes them sleepless nights, is not knowing how to use the tech or set up the systems. For other people, it might be graphics, and it might be imagery. They might have amazing content to share, but just no idea how to get it over the line and to share it with the world. So I think it's about identifying what your weak spots are, and what holds you back, being really honest with yourself about it, and trying to work out what it is and what baggage you've got that's contributing to that. And then, like I say, pushing yourself and challenging yourself, and keep practicing to just get better at it, and seek support, and reach out and invest in yourself to overcome those fears and those challenges.
Yeah. I know there's something that you have not struggled with, but you had to go through a journey in order to find your niche. What are your insights from your experience of actually finding your niche now?
So for me, when I first started my business, I started as a virtual assistant because I was a PA for years. I knew what I was doing. It was, something I was comfortable with, and I felt confident in starting a business with that set of skills. It was something I knew I could do. So I did that, and I did that for sort of 12 months, and I left work, and I got a consistent income, and that was great. But then I started to work with these amazing women, and you and the ladies that I met through Women in Business. And I started to kind of, resent is the wrong word, but I started to not enjoy some aspects of the work I was doing, and I'd want to rush through those bits to focus on the bits that I really, really was passionate about, wanted to do. And, that was what I was getting the great feedback on, and that was fueling this passion. But I was so scared I wasn't doing any social media at this point, because I was just terrified. I didn't think anybody would want to work with me. Who would want to, this unconfident girl from Lincoln, living in the country. And I just, that was my fear, and that was my challenge of, I didn't know how to show up online, because I was comfortable being behind a computer screen, and I knew I could get work doing that, and I could have quite happily carried on, but it wasn't making me happy. So the challenge that I had was getting over this fear. I thought to be popular online and to be able to have a great social media feed, I had to be somebody else. And I wasn't being authentic. So I didn't know how to write my social media, because I was trying to write it as somebody else. I wasn't being me, because I didn't think that anybody would want to work with that. So I invested some money, and I worked with one of the ladies from the Women in Business community, Kate Butler-Ross, who is fantastic. And we did some real deep diving into what I wanted and who I was and my personality. And that was a massive turning point for me, because it helped me to realise that actually my past as a careers advisor, and my passion for training and education and learning was coming through, and that's what I was missing in my virtual assistant work. So Kate helped me realise what I wanted to do. I already knew it, but it was like she gave me permission to find that niche and to start saying no to work that I didn't want to do. And she gave me that confidence to just be me online, and she helped me find my voice, and that was a massive turning point for me. And like I say, a lot of what she told me I already knew here. I already knew it in my heart, but it was like she gave me a permission to go and do it, and that was amazing for me. It was a massive sort of turning point in the business.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah,
it's a real raw experience of how you created that transformation, that shift. And like you say, just someone else giving you that permission to actually do what you already feel in your heart is the right thing to do. Now, I know you're often guided by your instincts and your inner voice. Can you give me an example when that felt really, really strong for you and you actually went with it and it made all the difference in your life?
Yeah, I think coming back to the point I made earlier about being overwhelmed with the amount of information that is out there, I joined every VA group that I could find when I first started, because I thought that that was what I should be doing, and I wanted to learn everything about the industry. And everybody was saying to me, you should be charging at least £25-30 an hour. And that terrified me at first. 2 years ago, I wasn't even earning £12 an hour in my day job. So to start a business and start commanding that rate, it just didn't feel, I didn't have the belief in myself at that point that I could do it. So I had a couple of clients, and I met this lady. She was one of my first proper clients, and Daniela Bleckner. I know she's a lady in the women in business community, and she helps people to self-publish their books and share their messages, their powerful stories. And it came an opportunity to help her do some social media, and she was just at the beginning of her journey as well, and she couldn't afford to pay very much. And everybody said to me, you're worth more than that. You can do better than that. Don't take on the work. It's a lot of hours for not very much money. But we just connected. We spoke, and we had various calls, and she felt the same way. She spoke to about 30 VAs, and she just said, I'm drawn to you. I just feel this connection. And I felt the same way, and we started working together, and that was 2 years ago. So on paper, everything about that was wrong. I shouldn't have done it. I shouldn't have taken on the work. It was doing something that I hadn't done before. It was, working for a lot less than I should be doing. But having met Danny, it was like this domino effect of opportunity. So I met Danny, and through Danny I met another lady who introduced me to you. And then I started working with you, and that just opened up my world. I'm from Lincoln, which is a really rural part of the country in the middle of the UK. Very low wages. A lot of people are self-employed, but not in the type of work that I do. It's still quite a new thing here. So a lot of people didn't understand what I was doing. So to have the opportunity to meet somebody in London and to visit London and come down and connect with all these amazing women, it just blossomed my business. So had I never trusted my instinct that working with Danny was the best thing for me to do at that point, my journey would look totally different now, and I wouldn't be sat here, and I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing or making the money that I'm making. So I think, the point is, sometimes you just need to trust your instincts. You and your beliefs, and if you are quite an organic, natural, holistic person like me who believes in that, then trust your instincts. They will guide you.
And just that. Sometimes you just have to make a decision for yourself, isn't it? And sometimes you may know it's not 100% right, but in the process you will find out, I think, whether it was the right decision or maybe it was a mistake, which in either case is fine because you would have learned a lesson.
Absolutely. And I think I've talked to you about this before, that there's a theory in careers, and it's called planned happenstance. And it basically is the theory that you create opportunities. So in terms of jobs in careers theory, it's sort of, unless you're in the right place, in the right time, creating that moment, that opportunity didn't exist until then. So it's the theory of, you have to take opportunities in order to create opportunities, because that opportunity only ever existed for you at that point. And I kind of live my life by that rule, is that unless you say yes, unless you take advantage of opportunities, you don't always need to know where they're going to lead you. You're opening doors.
Yeah, for sure. Oh my goodness, I could be sitting here talking to you all day because you have these little insights and nuggets, and I think it is real reflection of the experience and the journey that you have had already. And, many women can really draw a lot of, insights from this conversation, from your experience. And I know you made some huge transformations on this journey. I want to ask you, what was one of your biggest transformations on this journey?
I think for me personally, I have never felt more confident or happy with who I am than when I began running my business. I just felt like this was what I was supposed to be doing, and I finally felt accepted, and I didn't have to be somebody else. And I met this amazing community of women who just accepted me and loved me for who I am, and they wanted to work with me, and that gave me more than I ever could have imagined in so many aspects of my life. Just in terms of general happiness, mindset, it was just amazing. I've never felt accepted in that way before, and my business gave me that. And people laugh at how soppy I am about it, but it's true. My business means so much to me because of that.
Yeah, it's just, I can totally see that it has given you your real purpose, your position, your place in your life. And this is your own creation that you made work for you around the life that you have, your son and your family, your home. You're your own boss at the minute.
Yeah. And it is, I look back at my parents and I get my work ethic from them, because we had a restaurant and they worked 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, 10 months of the year. They worked hard and they made the life that they wanted for me and my sister, and to give us everything that we can. And I want that for my son, and I want him, when he's grown up, to think back and say, my mum wasn't scared, my mum didn't, she went and she did it, and she wanted it and she got it, and she never gave in, and she worked through the challenges, and she rode the waves. And I've done more in the last 2 years than I have in 34 years that I've been alive. And I'm doing the Women in Business retreat next year, and I've been to London, and I've done podcasts, and I've written training and given training courses and got training accredited. And it's amazing to have achieved that in 2 years. I can't wait to see what the next 10 years brings, because at the moment I've still got a 4-year-old. He's still he's still small, he still needs me, but if I can achieve that in 2 years, I just can't wait to see what life I can make for us.
Absolutely.
Moving forward. We bought our house this year, which was always our vision, to buy a house by the time we were 40, and we're 34. I've done it within the first 2 years of running my business.
Wow, so incredibly inspiring. I love your story, and I'm so glad that you're having this opportunity to share with the world. And it's so scary to start a business to start with, have a child and have a family around everything else, the uncertainty, all of these things. It can be really, really scary. And here you are saying, I did it. I managed to do it and find my way. You didn't feel very confident when you started, and you had a lot of doubts, but you managed to create a life that you want, and without trying to chase the 6 figures or trying to follow what everybody else is saying you should do. You've done it your own way.
I think there is so much online and so much out there. And I know when I first started, it really annoyed me that people would say, you can have it all. You can, go to yoga, and you can take your child to school, and you can earn £100,000 a year by working 5 hours a week, and kind of creating this unrealistic dream that isn't reality for a lot of women in business. And I'm not saying that it's not about finding a good work-life balance, but it's about recognizing that it is hard work. Some nights you will work until midnight to get your client work done, and if your child is ill, or it's hard to take time off because you don't get paid, and that they are the real parts of business. But it's about learning to put things in place to help you manage those and to seek support and get the systems and processes. But you won't have that all at the beginning. You can't plan your business to the nth degree of how you're going to run it. You just need to do it in the beginning. You just need to get in it, do the work, and see what happens, and then build from what you learn. Make mistakes, don't do them again. Things that go well, recognize why it went well, replicate that. But there are ups and downs, so it's important to remember that it's amazing, but it's hard work.
Yeah.
So you have to have kind of tough shoulders to do it.
Yeah. So at this stage, I think I should give you a very special certificate because you have sat through every single training by Women in Business Community. So I think I need to give you a certificate of recognition for doing that.
Trainings, they're amazing. It's an absolute joy to do them, and that's the part of my business that I love so much, is that the women that I work with, not only am I doing work, but I'm learning all the time. And then I often go on to work with them because the expertise and the passion and the knowledge that they have, I know will help my business grow. So it's just incredible, and that goes back to the kind of point of just taking opportunities. If you never know who you're going to meet, and you never know what will happen or what opportunity might come from a conversation or an Instagram post, or just connecting with somebody, you never know where that might lead you.
Yeah, absolutely. So in your own words, what has been your experience of the community and our events?
Women in Business literally changed my life, and I can't put it any simpler than that. I suppose my experience of Women in Business is a little bit different because I'm part of your team, but the value that the community has given me, and that outlet to connect with women and find like-minded women who can support me and listen to my worries and give me a word of advice when I'm sat, on my own, working and worrying and frustrated, to just be able to connect with somebody in the group and say, I just need a friendly word, or I'm not sure how to move forward from this. Having that community there means the world to me. And I really wouldn't be where I am without the knowledge that I've gained from the workshops. Doing the workshops allowed me to recognize what my passions and my niches were. I didn't know what a sales funnel was 2 years ago. I didn't know what a lead magnet was. I've learned all of that through the Women in Business community, and now that forms a major part of what my offering is in my business, because I've recognized what they are, I've learned about them, and I've realized that I've got other skills to pull in that actually relate very much to that topic and subject.
Yeah.
So yeah, it changed my life in so many ways.
Oh, thank you. And as many people would say, or would paint a picture that things can happen overnight, it just doesn't. It doesn't happen overnight, and you have to put in the work. And as much as the community support and events and everything is there, you still must take action, and that is how you become successful.
Yeah, and it's about just keep trying. It's I just spoke to you before we came on and said, I've just done a live, and Raimonda knows how much lives scare me. They scare the living daylights out of me, but I keep pushing myself to do them because I know I need to do them. And they're terrible at the moment. I'm really bad, but I know I'm not going to get better unless I practice. So for me, that's my little challenge at the moment. That's my thing I'm focusing on, and then once I've got that, I'll move on to the next thing that scares me, and I'll focus on that to just break it down, make it manageable, conquer it, move on.
Yeah, thank you so much, Claire. It has been an absolute pleasure, and ladies, I hope you have taken some really good nuggets of inspiration and just insights from Claire's story. Of course, there is notes underneath this podcast or video, whatever it is that you're watching, a little bit more about Claire and her contact details. So do make sure you follow her journey. And Claire, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been amazing. Thank you.
Likewise, we look forward to seeing you in the community. And ladies, do make sure you connect with Claire Lockey. And if you need any design or business support around your content, Claire is your lady. Thank you so much, and we'll see you again in the next podcast.